Let's rock, baby.
Welcome to Devil May Cry. No, not the shitty reboot. The original from 2001 in all its glory, the one that kickstarted everything in the franchise. This will be a lot more relaxed than the Final Fantasy 15 playthrough, because instead of me trying to 100% it and hunt through everything, I'll just be going through it at a casual pace, and if I end up collecting everything off memory, then cool. If I don't, then never mind. Because I haven't done any practice runs for this game, I'll just be jumping in after quite a long time of not playing it and seeing what I remember and what I can find as I go through it. I know there's a few like secret missions that are a bit annoying to find that you have to backtrack for, but I don't know how far you have to go before you can backtrack to them and things like that. So we'll just get to it as we get to it, as we get our little introduction right now to the legendary Dark Knight Sparda, the father of our protagonist, Dante. And that's pretty much all we need to know about Sparda for most of the franchise. They don't really dig into the origin of Sparda and things like that much in the franchise ever, but it is what it is. As we get introduced to the reason why the series is called Devil May Cry is the name of the bloody shop that Dante owns. But I'll shut up for this little bit.
Devil May Cry. Sorry, we closed at 9. Again, no password. I can't seem to get any real business. Whoa, slow down, babe. Well, well, what do we have here? Nature calls? It's in the back.
So, you must be the handyman who'll take any dirty job. Am I correct?
Almost. I only take special jobs. If you know what I mean.
You're the man who lost a mother and a brother to evil 20 years ago. The son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparda, Mr. Dante.
Well, the way I figure it, in this business a lot of your kind comes around. And if I kill each one that comes, eventually I should hit the jackpot sooner or later.
In that case, you should be used to this sort of thing.
Are you really the son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparda? Didn't your daddy teach you how to use a sword?
Sword. Time to go to work, guys. Even as a child, I had powers. There's demonic blood in me.
What strength?
You were the first one to know about my vengeance. Looks like I'm getting closer.
It seems that way, but I'm not your enemy. My name is Trish. I came here to seek your help, to put an end to the underworld.
What?
"20 years ago, Mundus, the Emperor of the Underworld, resurrected.
Mundus?
Yes. His powers were sealed by Sparda. He's attempting to gain control of the human world once again. He has been preparing to open the gate on Malay Island.
And just like that, we're here. We're here at Malay Island. There's a central castle in the area and a surrounding courtyard, and that's the entirety of this game, really. The original 2001 game, they used a very simple idea of, let's just make a basic area on a nice little island and make you explore it. There's a lot to do here. Basic controls: R1 locks on, X or square if you're playing on PlayStation to shoot, the triangle button to swing your sword, If you hesitate slightly after the second hit, you'll be able to do an extra hit. If you hesitate for a longer period of time, you'll go into a million stab, where you'll constantly stab forward rapidly. This here's a yellow orb. It allows you to reset from a checkpoint if you die and you still have one. Every time you die, you use one though. The reason why I'm backtracking, I noticed it over there, I was backtracking because I noticed a blue orb somewhere here before you go into it. That's very easy to miss. Of course, X button or the A if you're on Xbox to jump. The B button is sort of more of like your interacting button, but you can use it to shoot as well in this game. In future games you can't, because they'll introduce a style mechanic that'll make it unaccessible. But it's a very simple set of control scheme. We'll be able to get more as we progress onward, but for now that's all we have as we enter through the back of the castle. And officially start, when it loads, Mission 1, Curse of the Bloody Puppets. Break the evil spell and open the door. Just like every other Devil May Cry game, this game is split into missions. However, there are several points in this game where you won't actually be in an active mission for various reasons. The reason why I'm trying to get up here is because there's a little bonus secret. I know there is. If you can land, it's very hard to do, but if you can land perfectly on the tip of that spear... Fuck. I'm going back for it. Because there's a whole stash of red orbs if you can get up there, and I want to get it. Because that's one of the things that affects your rank in Devil May Cry 1. In DMC 1, the things that affect your rank are how much damage you take, how quickly you do it, and how many secret stashes of red orbs you do. Unfortunately, unlike Devil May Cry 4, it doesn't tell you this. It will just give you a rank at the end. You have to just sort of know. So if I don't bother collecting any of the main ones, I'm fine, but that's the main things that affect it. I've heard a few people say that if you use the more powerful weapons in the game, it also hurts your rank, but I've never seen anything to confirm that. So if you want to be sure of your rank hunting, then yeah, use the Force Edge, the weapon that Dante starts with for the whole of it, but I don't think you need to. We can't open this door yet because we need a rusty key, and it specifies it's a rusty key, so if you find a key and it's called a rusty key, you know it's that one. You don't actually have a double jump in the game when you start off. However, if you press the jump button again when you're next to a wall, you'll bounce off the wall. You'll do a wall hike, that the game calls it. So later on you'll be able to get an ability called air hike, which costs quite a lot of red orbs, I might add, which is your currency for the game and how we're opening this door. But it'll give you the ability to double jump. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Unfortunately we can't get back through here just yet, no matter how hard we try. But before we go, if you head over here, there's another blue orb. That's 3 already. If you know where a lot of the blue orbs are, you'll find your health bar jumping up pretty quick. So I don't know off the top of my head where all of them are. I've 100%ed this game in the past a few times, but that's quite a while ago, so I'll try and get all of them as we go, but if I forget a few, I forget a few. I can only apologise if I do. And here we're going to get introduced to our first enemies, the marionettes. Oh, that's worth noting, there are like invisible boundaries, so you can't just run off the edge of everything, you do have to jump off edges. As we get our rusty key for that door back in the main room. And now we can go to leave. And whee! Now our foes are here and ready for us. And we can get introduced into actual combat. First thing worth noting, in Devil May Cry 3 and 4, if you do the same attack several times over, your rank won't go up. That does not apply to the first 2 games. If you can just keep up the pressure, the rating will go up. However, it drops straight back down to D the moment the combo fades. It's very harsh like that. You can't maintain it if you slightly lose it or whatever. Also worth noting that your rank will not go up in any way, shape or form if you shoot enemies unless the enemy is already airborne. And there's our 4th blue orb just round the corner here if you decide to go in this optional area, giving us a full blue orb, permanently expanding our health bar. So I'm going to do a lot of talking in this earlier bits, but I'm just trying to explain as much as I can. But that's something worth remembering. You can up your rank with gunplay, but only if you knock the enemy into the air. So if you knock them up and then open fire, the rank goes up. But if they're on the ground and you open fire, it won't do anything and your rank will still fade away. And the thing is, it is kind of easy to get your rank up because of it. It's not the easiest it's ever been in a series to get your rank up. That luxury goes to Devil May Cry 2. That game, getting the S rank is pathetically easy. You just press the attack button and it's like, oh look, there you go. Because the game's stupid and it's got so many issues with it. And look, there's another blue orb right up here. There's also a red orb stash right on the end if you stand there. Now unfortunately we can't progress through the door because we need to kill all these marionettes, but as you can see, none of them are coming down and coming active. So what you need to do is actually go over here and activate this, which will awaken them, but it will also open a little trapdoor here and pull you down. And now you've got to fight all these guys down here first. And there's quite a number here, so don't be surprised if you get hit a few times, especially if this is your first time. But I have a lot of good memories of this game. It's not as much as Devil May Cry 3. Devil May Cry 3 is still my favourite, but this, for a very long time, was a very close second. I think nowadays Devil May Cry 4 is sort of crept up just because of how much time I put into it. But I do have a soft spot for this game in a lot of ways. And the secret missions aren't stupid and idiotic and painful. But there's only like one secret mission I don't really enjoy, and that's because it's a one and done. Like all the rest you can retry as many times as you want. There's one where it literally gives you only one chance to do it, which is really annoying because if you fuck it up you have to load up, you have to restart the mission and do the whole mission again, and it's not that short of a mission, you can't just go do it. And you might remember that the very first Let's Play I did way back in 2015 was Devil May Cry 4. And now I'm doing another Devil May Cry game, which is a nice little full circle and a nice way to look back on my part to see how much I've improved as an editor and as a live commentator as well. Well, I say that there's a lot of projects I've done post as well, like Bloodborne, most of Uncharted 2. And a lot of Final Fantasy 15 is in post. Like I've managed to make it live so far, but there's been a few bits where I know I'm going to have to go back and do in post because I've recorded up to part 5. I just need to edit through it, and there's a few bits that didn't quite come out bit, or I shut up, or I just didn't say that much, or whatever that I need to add in post. But whatever. But I'd like to think I've got a lot better since DMC4. Like I've got a lot more confident in my voice, that's for sure. I'm a lot more used to talking to myself because that's basically what I'm doing when you're watching this. Also worth noting, there's no red orbs drawing to you or anything like that. If you want to pick up those red orbs the enemies drop, you have to go over to them. We don't even have Stinger yet. We have to get a new sword a little later on before we can do it. But anyway, back to like the point before I started rambling off. In Devil May Cry 4, I recorded it mission by mission because the recording limit at the time was only 15 minutes. Because I didn't know how to work SHAREfactory to make it so it could go to half an hour, and I certainly wasn't any expert. And this was before the system update that allowed you to record for longer than 15 minutes at a time as we cleared the first mission. I'm going to say that was a B or C rank because I took quite a while wandering around. B, yeah, alright. But so I did it mission by mission. I won't be doing it for this, solely because, well, firstly I don't need to, and secondly a lot of these missions are really tiny, and if I did it mission by mission, some of these missions would be less than a minute long. There's a higher number of missions in this game. I think it's the highest number of missions that any Devil May Cry game's ever had, because they usually try and make it around 20, except 1 and 2. So I believe this one has either 22 or 23 missions. And 2, I honestly can't remember, I just know it ends a lot sooner than you'd think. But that's because I really don't enjoy 2, so haven't really gone back to it. Also worth knowing, and this might just be because it's me, but I never like to leave a fight unfinished, unless it's infinite spawning. Because there are a few fights in this game where the puppets in the early game will infinitely respawn. So you just got to, as soon as you realise that they're going to keep on coming back, you just got to move on, otherwise you'll be there all day. Which, to be fair, is handy if you want to grind for red orbs, but you'll be there a while because they don't drop many. And I believe the amount you need to be able to buy absolutely everything in the game, no problem, is around 45,000. And you look how much we've got right now. Ow. So I haven't done any practice runs, so I might be a bit rusty and I might get battered around a little bit. Ah, fuck. I'll get into the swing of it again. You can't do like many, if any, proper tricks like you could in the original. Like later on when we get the gauntlets, you can't infinitely enemy step and bounce off it like you can in 3 and 4. Or shit like that. And I think this actually might be infinite spawning, like I said I was. So I'm actually going to move back here because I want to show off and explore this little room in the back over here anyway. Later on there'll be a secret mission. I can't remember if it's in mission 3 or mission 4 that the secret mission spawns, but we'll come back here eventually. But there's a blue orb fragment here, so it's worth coming for this. That statue there is where you can go to get upgrades if you don't do them at the start of a mission. Whilst it plays the haunting music. Every Devil May Cry game's got this weird, like, symphony-esque music. Well, not symphony, that's the wrong word, but it's just a vocal piece for using the Goddess of Fate statues, which is what they're called. And it's like 1 and 3 had the most like recognisable for me. Like 2 I can never remember, and 4's it's just Kyrie singing. Also, what that thing did there, get out of it as soon as you can. Mash every button, because I don't think it's on normal, but on hard onwards, if they attack you whilst you're tied up on the strings, it's an instant kill. It doesn't matter how much health you have, it will instant kill you. Like being caught by the suicide attack of the blitzes on DMD, there is no survival. It will do a full 20 units of health. As we get our new weapon. Ah, fuck. This is Alistair. Because Force Edge, no matter what you do and try, you physically can't upgrade. Alistair here, on the other hand, you can. Which is why they give you another sword. They give you one that you can't upgrade, just to get you used to the game, and one you can upgrade once you're used to the mechanics. Like, this is what I think. Back in the day, if this wasn't what sold you, nothing probably would with this game. Like, if this wasn't what made you go badass, I want to carry on playing, you probably wasn't going to continue past this. That was like the best selling point of this game, just the sheer badassery of Dante. Which is strange to think that this was originally going to be Resident Evil 4, and then they said it was too action-packed and to be a Resident Evil game, and so changed it and became its own franchise. Which is funny when you think of the fact that Resident Evil for a while became quite action-packed anyway, not long after this game. Oh, and now Dante's going to show off his weapon. Something that is a consistency with the entire franchise, even the reboot. Every time they get a new weapon, they like to show it off a little bit before they actually put it away. But Devil May Cry 1 Dante has a certain essence of maturity and style with it. Like kicking it before putting it on his back. Like, he knows no one can see it, but he's having a bit of fun anyway. Alistair controls exactly the same as Force Edge, but you will notice yourself doing a little bit more damage than you were with Force Edge. And like I said, you can also upgrade it. But the main thing is, once you get Alistair, you have access to the Devil Trigger. Underneath the health bar, you might have noticed the little symbols. When 3 of the symbols are full, you tap L1 or LB if you're playing on Xbox, and you will activate your Devil Trigger mode, where your health will regenerate, your movement speed doubles, and your attack and defense skyrocket. If you destroy this bench over here, you'll pick up the legendary shotgun, a mainstay of the series, as I try and remember where the guns are. The reason why when I'm in the menu it's not widescreen, where in the game it is because it's all rendered in CGI. It's all pre-rendered CGI in the menu, so they physically can't put it into widescreen because it looks horrendously stretched. They can't just add on to the edges like they can in the main game. The shotgun is a legendary weapon. On a lot of my playthroughs, I use only the shotgun, but I'm gonna refrain because it kind of breaks the game in half, as you can see. Well, it doesn't. It's not that overpowered. It doesn't break the game in half. Not like another weapon we'll get later on. It's just early game. You'll see it wreck shit up. The only thing it won't are these enemies, the red mayonnaise, because they have much more health, as you can see. There we go. Right, now because we got the key from that, we can open this door here and get access to outside, where there are more enemies waiting for you. At a point later on, all these enemies will respawn with an enemy we haven't met yet that are really good for grinding for, and I'll bring mention to it when we get to it, just to show you how to do it and where to go to it. But if you want to grind for red orbs without it affecting your playtime or any of your ranks or anything like that, there is a spot later on where the game counts you as not in any missions, and a healthy amount of enemies spawn in here that drop a decent amount of red orbs, and you can just grind of them for the rest of time. because I do know this isn't infinite respawning, so I will just crack on and kill all these guys and get the red orbs for it. Even if it will end up hurting my rank more than not because of how much time I'm spending going out of my way to kill these guys when you don't need to. It doesn't affect your stylish rank, it's just how much damage you take. Red orbs and time. Do you see what I mean? The rank dropped for a split second there and it drops immediately back to dull. Even though it was literally a split second, like it hadn't even completely faded. That's what I mean by how strict it is. You have to be so on the ball quick with it. Yeah, see, that's all of them. We can't interact with this yet, because if you try to, you get bounced off it, and it tells you that you need to confront the lion, you'll need a sign. And there's also another door just here, this little one, that you might not even notice, but you need to actually deal with the lion that it mentions down there first of all before you can do it. If you run towards an edge and press the jump button, Dante will do a long jump like that. The jumping control, as you probably noticed, is atrocious. In the first 3 Devil May Cry's, the jumping is really quite terrible. Like, Devil May Cry 4 has some issues with jumping as well, but it does enough to get away with it that it never really bothered me. Like, it does enough different to try and fix it. Like, that's probably one of the credits I'll actually give the reboot. The reboot's jumping is probably the most, like, good and most enjoyable to use, because it doesn't feel like you're actively fighting the game to do it half the time. Like in 1, 2, and 3. But then 2, I don't remember. Often, I can't really remember because I haven't played it in ages. But I don't really remember there being a lot of platforming you have to do. And this is the hint that you need to punch this to open the door underneath. Which dropping down here will allow you to get the Staff of Judgment, which unfortunately isn't a weapon as much as I wish it was, but in fact a key that you need to take back to the mural of the wall that had Alistair stuck in it. Taking it back there will allow you to access the next area, but as we go to leave, we'll be introduced to Sin Scissors, a new enemy. These are the guys that will infinitely respawn in the little courtyard area I was mentioning at a later point, and are very worth going to grind off at one key point where it won't affect any of your ranks if you care about that. But while these guys come down, I can actually talk about something that only really exists in Devil May Cry 1, and I don't know if they really do much of it or try anything special with it afterwards, but in Devil May Cry 1 there's a thing called critical hits, where if you did a set thing, you could one-shot enemies. It was hard to do it, and especially hard to do it consistently, as you can see here. But with the Sin Scissors, if you perfect parry them and immediately respond with a shotgun to the face, it will kill them outright, no matter what. Similarly, if after the parry, if you're quick enough, you can jump and do a Helmbreaker, which is the name of Dante's like slam down attack when you press the attack button in the air, and it will also one-hit kill them. Every enemy in the game has a critical point. A lot of the late game enemies are far harder to find them and exploit them, and I don't know all of them, but every enemy does have one. And if you do know all, it makes them beautiful for speedrunning if you can just do it consistently. Which is helpful. This game's very good for speedrunning. The reason why I'm running back here is because I don't know for certain, I think it might be the mission after next actually, but I think this might trigger a secret mission down here. Because I saw the baby spiders and I know the secret mission, no it hasn't. There's a secret mission when you enter this room where it's an entire room filled with those baby spiders and you just have to kill all of them. I didn't get the parry at all. You'll know if you got the perfect parry one shot, because other than it dying, you'll get given a lot more red orbs than normal. There we go. But that I always thought was a cool thing in Devil May Cry 1, and it's a shame that they never really did anything with it later on. But I kind of understand why they didn't, because if you know how to do them, even if they're hard to do, once you learn how to do them, you can sort of turn a lot of this game into a joke of just one-shotting everything. But I still liked that idea, and I wish they tried more with it, where you could try and exploit and make weak spots on enemies. You could force your way into a weak spot that does much more damage to them. And I might just be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure they've never done it since. Mission 3, destroy the Ardor, and now we can actually upgrade Alistair, so I'm immediately going to get Stinger. At some point I'll get Air Hike, because it's 4,000 orbs to get the double jump, and you can only do it with Alistair, because as you can see it's equipped to it. Later, when we get later weapons, if you equip that weapon and you've already got Air Hike on Alistair, you won't be able to do it again. If it's the white skull wall, it means you need to do some kind of objective to unlock it first. If it's blue, I believe that's kill all enemies, and if it's red, you need to give it red orbs. Our stinger is kind of pathetic for right now, but when we get to level 2 it'll be a lot better. And unlike Devil May Cry 3 and 4, he doesn't go "Hee-yah" every time you do a stinger. He does more of a "ha ha" every time he does it. So the somehow popular noise that everyone makes when it's a stinger, no, it didn't start in Devil May Cry 1, it started in 3, but that's for a later date. I'll make this the last mission I think for today, and then I'll call it a part. There's a secret red orb stash here. Later on, if you come back, you can stinger off this and you'll be able to long jump to a ledge. Also, we'll be returning to this little area we're at now as well. I'm going to equip Ebony and Ivory for now, just because they're kind of underrated in Devil May Cry 1. They really are the weakest weapon in the game, but I'm going to try and use them a bit more. They're good for holding enemies up in the air for combos though. If you want to get that stylish meter quickly, they're very handy for that. Just knock them into the air, open fire. But you have to click on that thing there. That'll tell you about returning to the path you came, and once you do, you'll get struck by lightning. Because, you know, why not? Which will cause the entire bridge to collapse, submerging you into water. And keep this in mind, this is how they're going to handle you being in water, right? It's not like about halfway through the game they're going to completely change how being in water works or anything. No, why would they do that? And yes, these enemies really are just skulls. They will tilt sideways and then try and bite you, so you can always tell when they're going to attack when they tilt their head sideways. The last one of them will always drop a green orb to restore your health, because it's always slowly draining when you're down here. I don't know if it can actually kill you, or whether it's like a Final Fantasy poison where it stops you at 1. Reason why I quickly just cut back here is because I realised that I'd forgotten something, and it's just as I opened that door it crossed my mind. If you can make it back across here, when you can make it across here, I said, if you make it back, there's a blue orb fragment waiting for you, so then that's our 7th we found already. But no, I cut back because there was no point wasting time on it. So I only just realised as I went in, but I knew there was a little cutscene, so I left that in and then just cut back because I just thought it'd save time. But upon picking this up, we can now return to the lion, but doing it, we get introduced to our first boss, as the Alice's like spider senses start tingling for some reason.
Surprise. I hope for your sake you got something inside that big body of yours.
And now we get introduced to our first boss, Phantom. Easiest way to deal with it, be on top of him. You can jump straight onto his back and land on it, and then if you attack the bulb from the inside, you'll do major damage quickly. Also worth noting, so I used my devil trigger then as well for a while. Also worth noting, if he starts to charge a fireball, if you attack his face directly when he goes to charge a fireball to aim at you, you will also do a mammoth amount of damage. Like now. Look how much damage the health that took off quite quickly. If you can get on him and just swing like a madman, look, he's dead already. So if you can get directly on top of him and swing like a madman, his health will plummet quite quickly as well. But that's the first boss of the game. Don't be surprised if on your first attempt, if this is your first Devil May Cry, you get beaten up a little bit, because he is a bit of a noob killer. He is there to sort of see if you're ready for the rest of the game after this point. But I think we've done quite a fair amount enough for now. So, next time on Devil May Cry, we'll return the Pride of the Lion and progress onwards. We explore the rest of the castle. Hey, we got an A rank! Sweet! But anyway, until then, you take care now.